Hey everyone, how is it going? Good to see you all today. We are so close to that 1k subs now, so please do support the channel and get us there, especially if you learn something in that. And once we're at 1k, I'll shut up and not mention it anymore, okay? I'll promise you. Well, not as much as I currently do, okay? If you haven't been following the Season 3 progress already, quick snapshot, right? Really quick. Variags and Rowan were really good friends. They were going to have a tournament to see who won the ring. It went to shit. What then happened is now it's everyone killed Rowan. Loth and Erebor are meant to now have a fair fight versus Variags and Gundabad. Okay, it starts at about 24 hours from now, and we're therefore preparing for that fight. This video is going to be about that, preparing to fight a faction. I'm going to use the example of fighting Gundabad in this. I'm not going to be spending 3 hours going through my whole preparation. What I'm going to do is give you a quick snapshot of the things I go through, things I think about, and you can use this in Season 1, Season 2, Season 3. When you're preparing to fight a certain faction, understand their weakness, how to counter what they're doing as best as possible. And countering evil is much harder than countering good, but they still have their things that you can sort of know that's going to happen. So we'll talk through that today, so hopefully you do enjoy the video. So let's go through the list. We're going to talk about sort of like creating a plan. We're going to talk about commanders. We're going to talk about the gear, ring powers, army compositions, and then talk about forts at the end as well. Okay, so there's loads of topics we're going to cover, and we'll just get into it. To be honest, let's just fire at it. Planning ahead. Okay, now you don't want to be doing this the day before. So obviously I'm mentioning here in my example that in the day before I'm planning to fight Gundabad. We've known this fight's coming for a while now. I'm not going to say too much about the leaders. There's a separate video. I've already complained about the leading and what's happening and stuff like that. We should have a plan of attack. Okay, what I'm going to do for this video, I'm going to pretend that plan of attack doesn't exist, and I'm going to give what my plan would be if I was the Loth and Erebor United faction leader. We're going to run through it for only 2 minutes, but it's kind of ideas again of preparing for that fight. All of your leaders should be planning for certain things, certain objectives to aim for. If you give your team a clear objective, then you will do so much better. You can see here you've got 1 dot on the map, 2 dot on the map, 3 dot on the map. That does not help your fellowship to focus doesn't help your fellowship to focus on one location. 1 dot on the map, maybe 2 maximum if you're trying to like separate your fellowship into 2 sort of sections, but give them a clear objective. We're going to push towards Tor. We're going to push towards Central Mirkwood. We're going to push towards Southern Anduin. Okay? None of that's on this map. So people who aren't on the Discord, people who aren't here all the time, they log in, want to do something, and they go, where am I going? Give clear, precise direction. If this was me and I was going to sort of have this fight, I would forget the fair fight rules. I would get Rowan on side to push them down through the east. I'd get Lyndon get back online, fight Angmar to distract them. We would then have a 3, and then Gondor to go straight towards their mummers, Umbar. That will really piss them off. It'll pull some men away, and we're now Loth and Erebor would push straight away towards Central Mirkwood or getting Elven King Halls, forgetting the Loth capital, don't care, let's go for the long game, get Erebor into the fight. They're not close enough to get properly in this fight right now. They need a region to teleport into. Central Mirkwood would be a perfect one for them to get closer to the fight. So Erebor goes Central Mirkwood, Loth to protect eagles like no tomorrow. They should have 100% of the force on eagles. Eagles are great. I'm going to go through army composition in a second, but we should be protecting eagles like no tomorrow. Okay, so plan ahead, and hopefully your leaders will be doing that and giving you the advantage in the fight. The other thing on the planning bit is make sure you are maxing your tiles, getting a good resource income. 180 is a nice sweet spot. It means we've got 36 tiles to push towards the enemy, like spread all your tilers out, cause some trouble, and yeah, it's a nice little balance about 180 mark. So let's go for commanders. Okay, so we're going to be fighting Gundabad. Okay, if we run through some of the sort of like the bits on here for Gundabad, you're going to be running up against the tier 4 warlords. These guys rip through your ranged units horribly, absolutely horribly. If they attack melee unit, it means they attack a ranged unit as well. So what counters do we have for this? Well, first of all, they're very, very squishy. So they have a base of 10 and they put it up to sort of like 60 defense here, which is really good. But they are squishy as like in general. So you can just go full damage and try and annihilate them. But one thing you probably want to do is avoid them, avoid using range completely. Theoden versus these, oh my goodness, Theoden would wipe the floor. You can see here, Assassin's using 3 melee units, running into Spike, and he's absolutely kicking his ass. And he will do that. It's full melee. These tier 4s aren't the best melee unit. It's just when they're against range, they're really good. So focus is melee. So that's the tier 4 unit. What else do we think when we're fighting evil? We're thinking Witch King with the alchemist spam. You can't get around it. If you're fighting evil, you've got to be prepared for alchemist. Okay, lots of them. If we just scroll up here, let's have a look. We've got they're doing some vanguards there. We've got a Witch King here with a big fat alchemist spam. It always happens. Alchemist is really, really great with a warlord because you're going to take... It's just, again, it's one of them where you want to take big, high damage things to hit the alchemist. That's usually range units. Warlord then smacks them. So it's really difficult, to be honest. Really, really hard balance. Then we've got what we've got here. Warlords, alchemists again. Trolls, loads of trolls. Trolls are a big one, so bow knights would be great against them. But yeah, so you get the idea. So what we're going to use on sort of like our commanders if we run through these. So we've got that in our head. Well, Gandalf's great. Damage reduction is huge on Gandalf. We could take our normal sort of like composure. And chances are that we're not going to be running into sort of 2,000 warlords in a single army. It's maybe 1,000. With the damage reduction that Gandalf does, he's going to be still great against those warlords. Maybe even turning madness, maybe stunning them anyway in the first couple of rounds. I'm not too concerned with Gandalf right now. And I think he's going to be great. Gandalf's also amazing versus Witch King. He's required. You've got to take his like high alert, his white council. Like, these are really 2 key skills versus evil. Any extra points into Champion Alive for that bonus damage to Orcs, Uruk-hai and Trolls. These are really, really key. So make sure you're planning your Gandalf, for example. Gandalf's key versus evil. Put him in his full evil fight. Remember to do that. The amount of times I see people fighting good, then switching to evil, and then all of a sudden they've got the wrong Gandalf build is... Honestly, it happens too much. It's what the video is about, preparing for your fight. So Gandalf's going to be great in this fight. I know he's going to be struggling with the sort of like the range and the front line. But honestly, it's still worthwhile. Still be great. I'll be running with Guardians, probably. Talk about army composition in a second, so let's not get distracted. Other people. Theoden. Theoden's insane versus evil. You just need to avoid the Witch King. Like I said before, against those warlords, against the Reapers, against the Alchemist, Theoden's absolutely great. So I'll be definitely using Theoden. He will be running in full force, just trying to avoid those Witch Kings because they do some big damage to him. Some people do like to run the renewed build with Theoden when running versus evil. I personally am not really too fussed with it. I like a good fight anyway and just go straight in there. I prefer to scout first and then attack, and hopefully we can avoid the madness problems. We'll talk about gear after a second, or should we talk about it during? We'll talk about it during. So things I'm going to change here. I'm going to get rid of my cavalry wizard firework. I'm going to switch it for ranged units damage firework. I'm not fighting Rowan now. They're not going to be using cavalry. You're not going to get cavalry armies for evil unless you're against Rune. Maybe you might run into some war chariots and dragoons, but really you're not going to have a big cavalry presence. So I'm going to be switching this out tonight. Theoden is going to be getting a anti-madness helmet for me. I'm going to be removing this and putting him in an anti-madness helmet because if I'm running up against a Sauron, it can cause some trouble. I might be doing that. That's an option, for example. Things you need to think about when you're about to take this fight. I would also recommend in this situation, if I really, really wanted to, I'd switch out Fiddle the Eldest. Fiddle the Eldest is amazing versus Rowan because it brings all your speed of your army up. I don't need the army speed anymore. We're not going against cavalry. Hithlane would do an amazing job, and you know what, tonight I might make myself a nice Hithlane with a mend ability. So that would be really cool as well if I can do that. Who else are we taking? Tell you what, let's talk about who we're not taking. I can't see how I can make Haldir work. He's running, unless I run him with full ranged. If I run him with literally like, I don't know, what can I do? 5,000 March Wardens. Run in there. They wouldn't do much with the Warlords anyway. The Alchemists would hurt like hell though. But March Wardens do have good HP, so maybe it's a possibility. Really difficult. Definitely Haldir is one of the weaker ones, and it is a bit of a worry for me to take him into the fight. Galadriel, insane, really, really good unit. I've not built her out very well though yet, so probably will be sort of avoiding using her where possible. But she's great, for example, so I should really be planning to do it. It's just that I've just not prepared at all for it. I'm not built for her. I'm very new with her. Not used her loads, and I still need to practice with her to be able to do it. Gimli is probably going to be great. If I take him with Guardians and Ram Riders, he should do a great job versus the Warlords, versus the Alchemists, everything to hopefully do an alright job at doing some good damage. And they use cheap units he does. So I think Gimli will be a good one to use. You can actually say, like, you're planning it, you see what you're doing, who you're going to take in there, what gear are you going to use with them, what you're going to take in, what you're going to come up against, really, really key. So think about your commanders. I've ran through the gear already, like I said before. Get rid of the cavalry stuff. Focus on hitting them as hard as possible and thinking about there's not going to be any... We're not going to go against range, for example. So don't take something that's going to be ace against their ranged. Evil don't use range often, especially like... They're not going to be running with snipers. They're not going to be running with snipers. Let's be completely honest. They're just not. You might run one every 10 fights. You might have some snipers on there. They don't use them, so don't worry about focusing on that. Bro. Army compositions. Well, I've left some units in my barracks here so I can talk through this. What we're going to be using? Well, we need our Guardians for the heatproof skin. We need our Ram Riders for the heatproof skin. Both of them are really, really key, just in case we come up against those Alchemists, which are in loads of armies. Eagles are going to be huge on, for example, my Gimli. If I run Gimli with full max Eagles, run in there, and they reduce melee damage huge. Like, they reduce the melee damage by 60%. It's literally insane reduction of damage. And they don't use ranged units. So Eagles are going to be a huge advantage. Eagles are going to be massive. Great against the Warlords, great against the Alchemists, great against literally everything they're going to run into. Great against Mumakills. Eagles are key. I need to make sure tonight I am non-stop hiring these, and I'll do it again in a second. Let's run through what we don't need. March Wardens are tier 4s we definitely need. Guardians, like I said. Guard of the Tower. We don't need them. We're not going to be running the cavalry. Gone. That's how many Guard of the Towers I need tonight. For tomorrow, sorry. None of them. Let's think about it. We're going to be using Guardians. We're going to be using March Wardens, Eagles. Cataphracts, Ram Riders are good. Cavaliers will be used for my Theoden. I'm not going to be using Guard of the Tower. So let's not waste army space for it. Prepare. And make sure you do a good job when you make the fight. You're only going to get one chance for this fight. If you make a mistake, if I got like what did I have? 100 army cap. Well, I'm 100 army cap behind everyone else because those guard of the towers were useless. So get rid of them, use the units you want to be using. I'm going to be using lots of eagles, guardians, march wardens, bone knights will be in there as well. I'll see what upgrades I can do, probably do some double levies to try and get them up as much as possible. But yeah, that's all my compositions I'd say. Evil, but again, yours are going to be different. You're going to be fighting other people. Think who you're fighting. Or do you need mass Dunedains to go against Loth? Or you're going against Linden, for example. You need mass Dunedains for your fight. Okay? Next one, ring powers. I'm going to do this one with you. What am I doing with my ring powers? Well, I don't need mock battling. I don't need experience. I don't need anything relating to bloody sweeping. Okay, well, that's a lot of points back, so, brill. What do you need? You need full commander-related stats. Okay, 100%. We're in PvP now. No time for XP. We need max speed. 10% plus to your speed. Huge for someone like Theoden, etc. What else do we need? Powerful sweeping. If you didn't know already, powerful sweeping gives you 10% damage in fights. Everyone needs powerful sweeping. Okay, abundant force, reducing conscription times. I need that max. I'm going to be spending non-stop. I'm going to be using it non-stop. Well, if I'm going to be spending non-stop, guess what I need? I need to max my resources. Levy is 100% needed. That gives us a ton of resources from our buildings that we use. I'm not going to be using gathering as much. I'm going to be using fast travels, etc. to like cut out people, bounce them. We may need march speed, but I haven't got loads of like resources on that, so I'm going to focus on them. Looks quite equal, but wood is probably our best. Wood is our best, so we'll definitely max that one. Need to get that up. What were we on? 70, or just under 70 was it then? It was just over 70. Push that to 73. We're at 54 on the stone. We'll probably go stone after that. But stone isn't used, so we'll lose some on the trade. Grain, let's go that one, because we definitely would do as much grain as possible. Ace. And again, ore. I'm going to go for the full ore as well. I'm going to put this extra point in march speed, I think. It's probably the best one I'm going to get. Maxing fortress, maxing stamina, maxing control, as you know already. But yeah, preparing your ring. Don't go for XP grinding like thingy. Go for maxing as much as possible on your resources. Okay, you're going to be using them. So make sure you max them as much as possible. Last thing we're going to run through is forts. When you're on a front, say I've been assigned to the north here. And I wish, I can get rid of these. Wait, how do I get rid of these? Battles, right. Brill. We'll get rid of names. We'll get rid of, what's it called? The movement range. What have we got here? We've got 3. 1, 2, 3 forts. Okay. I can't get rid of the pings. How annoying is that one, eh? If we go in here, though, let's have a look. We've got 1. We've got 2. We've got 3. I'm going to be putting more than 1 fort on the front line. What if I use this one? I've maxed it, I've got everyone in there, and it dies. Well, okay, well, I'm going to build one here now. Just give us a couple of hours for it to build. No, have several lines to it. I'm literally, you see, I've got literally so many forts here. Fortress behind, fort, with my settlement, fort. So if my settlement goes and I lose this first fight, I'm going to ping over here, right? And them going to send my armies over here that's already prepared. We're already prepared for the next bit. You want to max them as well. I've not got much gold, so I'm not going to max these. Okay? I'm not going to, because I haven't got much gold and I need to get my sort of armies up as much as possible. So I'm not going to do it on this one. But you can. You've got more than 24 hours preparation. Okay? I've not on this situation because I've not done it. I've been playing my old account. I've been doing whatever, doing this, doing that. I've not done it, not prepped like I should, and therefore I can't upgrade it like I want to. Hopefully this can give you some kind of advice, take something away from it. Prepare for your fight. How are you going to counter them? What gear you're going to use? What commanders you're going to use? And another big point I didn't mention on the commanders, sorry, and if you're still watching now, comment down below that you're still watching, and I'm going to, first person that says they are, I'm going to pin to the top. All right, that's what you get for being this loyal and watching this far. But having variation of commanders. Don't have loads of damage dealers. Don't run with a Legolas, a Haldir, a Gimli and an Aragorn. Okay, all of them glass cannons. Well, let's not do that. Do some cavalry. We'll do some archers, some damage mitigation, some range boosts, some big focus damage boosters with madness, and your damage dealer as well. You've got a right good range of different heroes here, different commanders to use. Have a good balance, and that's what I was going to say on the commanders bit as well. Hopefully it helps. If you do like the video, if you do want to give any advice to anyone else, leave it in the comment section below. What do you think I've not prepared for here? What do you think I could have done better? And I've not fully finished, but what do you think I should have covered in this video that you think would be really, really key, and what you do to prep before a fight? Thank you very much for watching today, guys. I shall see you next time, and love you long time. Let's hope we hit that 1K very soon. Come on.